We're back in the studio, and while we do have a few final videos to make from CES and Fully Charged Live USA, don't worry, we've finally realised that we need an army of video editors to help out. We decided to make a few of our more traditional videos at this point, as some of you prefer this format. And today we're focusing on a topic that's got quite a lot of attention in recent days, namely the fact that Tesla is now reportedly permanently disabling supercharging support on any Tesla that's been wrecked. According to Electrek, a memo leaked to the outlet from a Tesla employee states that, quote, supercharging and or fast charging through third-party chargers of the salvage title vehicle is permanently disabled. Tesla reserves the right to deactivate supercharging capability on any vehicle we believe would be unsafe. If a vehicle is found to have been modified to enable supercharging and or fast charging through third parties, Tesla may take legal action and seek compensation. What this means in practice is that if a Tesla ends up being written off by an insurance company after an accident, Tesla will make sure that it never gets supercharging access again, or fast charging. As far as I can tell, it does this by permanently blacklisting the car on the supercharger network. So even if the car ends up being restored and retitled, it will never be able to supercharge, or to that matter, rapid charge at third-party quick charging sites with a compatible adapter such as Tesla's CHAdeMO to Tesla adapter, or in Europe, the CCS quick charge port that's now standard on all Teslas. Given that supercharging is one of Tesla's major competitive edges in the plug-in vehicle marketplace, this is a major blow for anyone looking to get a more affordable Tesla. And it's a major blow for anyone who likes to work on their own cars. If you've been following Tesla's attitude toward third-party repair, you'll already know how hard it is for enthusiasts to get hold of spare parts, diagnostics, and repair manuals. Right now, Tesla is making the bare minimum available in order to comply with local laws. And there is a whole cottage industry built around circumventing those things and putting perfectly functioning cars back onto the road. Not to mention third-party parts, computer access, and other hacks and workarounds. But before we get into the weeds, let's just take a step back and make sure everyone is on the same page when it comes to salvage vehicles and what is and isn't termed a salvage vehicle, because that context is going to be super important further down the line. And depending on where you live in the world, the regulations and requirements for salvage vehicles can be pretty different. When a car is involved in an accident or has some other bad thing happen to it, such as being involved in a flood or a fire, the owner's insurance company has to obtain quotes to decide if the vehicle is economically repairable or not. This is important because the insurance company wants to make sure that repairing the vehicle and putting it back into fully functioning order, be that mechanical or cosmetic, will cost less than just making the vehicle a total loss and paying out to the owner so that they can go ahead and buy a replacement vehicle. And that can mean, especially with high-end expensive cars like Tesla's, that cars can be deemed beyond economic repair, even if they can be repaired and driven, because while the parts may be relatively affordable, the hours of labour to take the car apart and then rebuild it push that repair bill into the land of uneconomically worthwhile. Now, the exact maths used to determine if a car is repairable or not is really some form of black magic, so I'm not going to go there. But if you're fairly good with DIY car stuff and you're willing to take risks on salvage cars at auction, you can, if you're lucky, end up with a perfectly functioning, perfectly usable salvage titled car, which is of course where YouTubers like Sam Crack and Uncle Rich of Rich B Builds come into their own. Side note here, we've just filmed a collab with Rich and I hope to have it up on the channel very soon, so watch this space. When it comes to which vehicles can be retitled as salvage, where you live is super important. In some countries, there are some pretty strict rules about which cars can and can't be put back on the road after an accident or a claim. In the UK, for example, there are different classes of insurance write-offs or salvage cars, ranging from Category N, which is cars which have no structural damage, through to Category A, cars which must be completely crushed and their parts destroyed after a write-off. In other markets, however, the way that salvage cars are treated can be very different. In other countries, for example, like the US, it is a lot easier to rebuild and retitle a car that's been in a really bad wreck or even completely damaged by fire. If you don't believe me, look up the videos on YouTube of the folks who've rebuilt completely destroyed muscle cars for a fraction of what they'd cost in a functional condition on the used car market. And of course, with the age of YouTube making vehicle restoration look easier than it is, lots of folks who may have the enthusiasm but not the technical skill are doing things that perhaps they shouldn't, and they're repairing cars to a lesser standard than they might, which is one reason Rich and so many other YouTubers put tons of disclaimers in their videos about salvage cars. Which brings us to Tesla and the whole disabling supercharging thing. Tesla is, and always has been, focused on vehicle safety. Safety is supposedly more important to Elon Musk and Tesla as a company than speed and performance, and it's that argument that's been used to justify the turning off of supercharger privileges in the past. It's the argument used to explain the reticence of Tesla to even allow trained third-party repairers to its vehicles, let alone DIY wrench turners in their home garage. This logic follows the path that electric vehicles have very high voltage components in them, high voltage components which, should they be improperly maintained or repaired, have the potential to kill or maim or cause massive damage. Batteries, after all, have a lot of energy stored inside them, and an electric vehicle fire, especially one involving a Tesla, would be a bad publicity thing for Tesla. But here's the thing. Hundreds of thousands of internal combustion engine vehicles are worked on and repaired on a daily basis by people in their garages. And most of the time, those repair sessions go well. Sometimes they result in bad things happening. Gasoline has a lot of energy too. DIY repair, by the way, is how Kate Walton-Elliott and I met, a shared love of classic cars and late-night tinkering sessions trying to fix them on a budget. But I digress. Supercharging, or rapid charging, requires a large amount of energy to be put into a vehicle in a very short period of time. So the electronics used for that rapid charging session need to be in a good state of repair in order to safely dump that power back into the vehicle's battery pack. But in most situations, because the battery pack is under the car, and in most electric vehicles, the power electronics used to charge the battery are similarly protected from damage in all but the most severe of impacts, this reaction seems extreme. Tesla, then, is shooting itself in the foot and continuing what amounts to the same kind of protectionist behaviours that Apple engages in, restricting who can and can't repair their products and actively seeking out ways to lock out customers from DIY repair. For all of the benefits that Tesla espouses for this rationale, including a consistent ownership experience, it sets a dangerous precedent for the future where Tesla decides if its cars live or die, cars that customers have already paid for and own. While Tesla does continue to offer customers upgrades through over-the-air updates, it also makes sense that eventually Tesla will want you to upgrade your car for a newer model. That's something every automaker wants its customers to do. Imagine a future where supercharging or some other feature becomes switched off due to safety concerns of an older vehicle, and suddenly your car is a very expensive paperweight. Anyone remember Sonos? And yes, I'm being extreme here, and no, I'm not suggesting Tesla would actually do that for a second, but if we follow the logic of preventing any salvage vehicle from ever supercharging again, I think you'll see where I'm going. Especially when Tesla actually offers owners of salvage title cars the opportunity to pay a not insignificant fee to have their cars officially inspected to ensure it's been repaired to Tesla standards. Even after that, though, as a case a few years ago in New Zealand illustrated, Tesla can still give the car a clean bill of health, but give it the single finger when it comes to the supercharger network. Which leaves me in a very conflicted position. I would hate to see unsafe cars get back on the road, and being British by birth, I am totally okay with the concept that there are some cars that should never be put back on the road after an accident. But killing supercharger access to a car which was not economically viable to repair, but which has a fully functioning drivetrain and power electronics, a car that may help someone else make the switch to electric, well then I do have a problem. And as a right to repair advocate, I've repaired my own Apple products for years, despite Apple's insistence that people don't, and I only recently purchased a new Kenwood chef for my kitchen to replace my 50-year-old one because the dwindling parts supply was making repair difficult. I feel there's a lot to be said for reducing waste and, where possible, repairing all of the things we own. And I also believe that when you buy a product, you also should be buying the rights to repair that product. Right now, Tesla is essentially continuing its war on anyone who tinkers or works on their own vehicle, shutting the point of entry to those who have the skills, but maybe not the money, to own and work on their own car, and ensuring that its vehicles are a walled garden. Sure, there are some smart people working to circumvent this. I know of quite a few interesting third-party Tesla support sites and workarounds that I'm not going to talk about, but it's sad that a company which makes such amazing cars is stooping to this point under the guise of safety, when I genuinely don't believe the data suggests that such actions are necessary. So what do you think? Should Tesla be allowing people to repair salvage cars and then put them back on the road? Should there be some form of certification for repairers that they must go through before they're given access to Tesla parts and allowed to work on vehicles? Or should cars just be crushed as soon as they're marked as uneconomical to repair? Leave your thoughts below. That's it. Thanks for watching. And if you'd like to help us make more videos like this, please do like, comment and subscribe. You can send us a couple of dollars our way every month through Patreon, feed our coffee habit with Ko-fi, or visit our swag store. I'll be back soon with more great content for you all to enjoy. But until then, keep evolving.